This is CBC Winnipeg News.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. His 94-year-old mother was attacked and assaulted by another patient. She was at St. Boniface Hospital receiving care. When her family says she was asleep, another patient attempted to smother her. Now, they say she was put in a dangerous situation. And as CBC's Mike Arsenault reports, her son is demanding officials re-evaluate how patients are paired in shared rooms.
Maria Capizzi was full of life. She loved her family, she loved cheering for the Winnipeg Jets, and celebrated her 94th birthday last September. In January, Maria's health started to decline, so her son, Tony Capizzi, and the family took her to St. Boniface Hospital.
She was always in pain and she was always moaning and groaning, so they were trying to control her pain. So they finally, a bed opened up on the 6th floor in Medicine South Wing.
Capizzi says his mother was in a single room for a few days, then she was transferred into a shared room with another patient. The next morning, he got a disturbing call from one of the nurses.
I'm sorry to tell you this, but I've never seen anything like this. But your mother was assaulted. The patient next to her, it was a man, found out it was a man, tried to suffocate her with a towel.
Capizzi says staff intervened and stopped the attack. His mother was moved to comfort care because of her already declining health and the attacker to another ward. He says his mom was put in a dangerous situation and was told staff knew the attacker from previous visits.
He told me that this individual should be jailed or should be in the psychiatric ward because he's always here.
His mother died the following week, unrelated to the incident. The Winnipeg Regional Health Authority says violence is something no patient should have to worry about while receiving care. A spokesperson said, when a patient displays violent, aggressive, or reactive behavior, site leadership may implement a documented safety and care plan to help prevent or reduce risks. Winnipeg police say a 49-year-old man was charged with assault in relation to the incident and released on a promise to appear in court. Police say the man is known to them, but didn't release his name or anything about previous interactions. Capizzi thinks the charge should be attempted murder. He hopes the attack will make hospitals reevaluate how patients are paired together.
If they know that this person can be violent, like, do not put him with the general public, put him separately somewhere else.
WRHA says hospital management has been in touch with the family to offer support. Mike Arsenault, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Community groups gathered last night to show their opposition to a City of Winnipeg plan to restrict protests. Supporters say it's about protecting vulnerable people from intimidation. But critics argue it could violate free speech and limit peaceful demonstrations. CBC's Cameron McLean reports.
A proposed Winnipeg bylaw would ban what it calls nuisance protests within 100 meters of places like schools, hospitals, and cultural centers. That has sparked a debate over the difference between protest and intimidation.
It would trigger a $500 offense on the first offense.
On Thursday, opponents gathered at West End Commons to organize a response.
We're terribly concerned about the threat it poses, not just to protest, but to public gatherings of all types.
The bylaw prohibits, quote, any demonstration that involves the expression of objection or disapproval of an idea, action, person, or group based on or related to any specified characteristics. Intimidation, as well as blocking access to people or vehicles, or using amplifiers without a permit, would also be banned. Legal labor strikes would be exempt. People like organizer Cam Scott and others at the meeting said it could impact Indigenous protests like round dances and would place large parts of the city off limits for demonstrations.
There's virtually no community space that wouldn't have one of these protected sites in it. In fact, they all ought to have schools and places of worship and so on. That's what constitutes a community.
Opponents also argued the language in the bylaw is vague, and they questioned how the city would decide what qualifies as a nuisance protest.
Obviously, that language is very odd because you don't protest to not get attention.
But the councillor who brought the motion forward says the intent is not to silence peaceful protests, it's to prevent intimidation.
I'd like to know what exactly type of protest these folks plan on participating in that causes intimidation at one of those protests, because that sounds like what the opposition would be, that they like to intimidate people, and that's their goal here, is that don't take away my right to intimidate.
Critics of the plan say police already have tools to deal with harmful behavior at demonstrations. Manitoba has legislation creating a buffer zone of at least 50 meters around facilities whose main purpose is to provide abortions. The bylaw heads to the Executive Policy Committee next Tuesday. Cameron McLean, CBC News, Winnipeg.
A Northern Manitoba First Nation says it's been forced to buy its own multi-million-dollar generating system after being ignored by both the federal and provincial governments. People living in Matthias Colomb Cree Nation were forced from their community for 128 days last year between wildfires and a December power outage that caused widespread damage. The chief of the First Nation, also known as Pakatawagan, says they privately financed 4 emergency backup generators at the cost of $8 million. He says they had no other choice after inaction from both levels of government. Now they're looking to recoup costs.
So here we are. We found a solution. We worked hard at it. Here's the offer. Please help us. Do the other part. We're pleading now to get connected to the grid. The governments have to get together, sit together like we did, and we planned, and we pushed and shoved. We shoveled through the storms.
He says community members are still dealing with the impacts of being away from home for so long. One person is in critical condition after a fire in the city's West End last night. But so far, what exactly happened is still unknown, and it's left people in the area shaken and eager for answers. CBC's Gavin Axelrod has more.
Plumes of thick black smoke poured out of this house during a fire on Yonge Street Thursday night. The city says crews responded just after 5:30 p.m. Raymond Roulette lives next door and says he called 911.
I just happened to be watching YouTube, and then I just happened to look up, and then I seen them, about 4 or 5 people piling outside already. And at that point, I just seen the smoke, and I asked them if they wanted me to call 911.
He says he wanted to run into the fire and help a person who was still inside before first responders arrived.
Half these people didn't have physical capability to go in there and drag that person out.
Most people were able to get out of the house safely. One person was taken to hospital in critical condition. 2 others, including a firefighter, were taken to hospital in stable condition. Winnipeg police were at the home throughout the day Friday. Members of the forensics unit could also be seen inspecting the home and going in and out of it.
Horrific, just crazy, just horror.
The blaze has left people who live on the street shaken and eager for answers. Robert Ellis lives behind the home where the fire was.
It's like a tragedy, I wouldn't want to go through it. I wouldn't want to experience it, not at all.
Ellis says he saw first responders start emergency care on someone who was brought out of the home.
I just hope that he recovers and get back on his feet again.
Others who live on the street also say their thoughts are with everyone impacted.
I believe this is a rooming house. There's several different people who live in this house. They're all quiet. They don't bug anybody and just part of the neighborhood.
Police said in a statement Friday they had no further information to provide other than the investigation continues. Gavin Axelrod, CBC News, Winnipeg.
All right, a busy weekend ahead, Valentine's and, of course, the long weekend. So let's check in on that forecast with weather specialist Mickey Wolf.
Thanks, Brittany. Well, we've been seeing a warmer February than we're used to here in Manitoba, and today wasn't too much different. Let's take a look at our daytime highs we saw across the province today. Definitely a warmer day for Winnipeg with that high of +2 we're seeing in the south. Those temperatures today just above 0, and we will see a cool down, but that's not coming at least for a few days here. Taking a look at our skies, we do have quite a bit of cloud cover over northern Manitoba at this time. The south, we're seeing a little bit of a clearer sky this evening, but as we get into tomorrow, we are going to get some cloud cover, especially after the noontime hour. We are expecting a little bit of fog tomorrow around noon, so that might compromise visibility if you're out on the roads during your Valentine's Day. And Brittany, I'll have more details about what to expect in the next 24 hours coming right up.
Well, at the Milano Cortina Winter Games, hockey is in the spotlight. The Canadian men's team beating Switzerland late this afternoon 5-1. And the embattled women's team is now hoping their star captain might return to the ice.
The sport, it's physical. There's moments that happen. You go down, but you come back up. And that's the most important thing. And again, I'm surrounded with great teammates, and we'll go one game at a time here.
Marie-Philippe Poulin was on the ice Friday for practice. She hasn't played since sustaining a knee injury on Monday. And on to men's curling, Canada getting its second win in 2 tries, defeating the U.S. 6-3. The women's team lost to the U.S. as well. In skeleton, it was a rough day for Team Canada. Neither the men's or women's teams managed to crack past the top 10. Team Canada still fighting for its first gold of the Games. Well, how food destined for the trash bin is being saved and helping people in need. We have that next. The Southern Chiefs organization is pushing for a review of the province's funding system for child and family services agencies. The model was supposed to get a review after 3 years, but it never happened. Now, several years into it, the organization says kids are being underserved. CBC's Mike Arsenault has more.
The Southern Chiefs organization is calling for a review of the way child and family services agencies are funded. Grand Chief Jerry Daniels says the current system is putting First Nations children and families at risk.
Agencies continue to operate with fixed funding envelopes that do not reflect the growing complexity of the needs on the ground.
In 2019, the former PC government announced it would move to a single envelope model to provide funding to the province's 4 CFS authorities. Block funding for each agency intended to ease administrative burdens, replacing per-child payments and the authority's ability to invoice the province for every cost. When the new funding model was introduced, a review of the program was supposed to happen after 3 years. That review hasn't happened.
As a result, Indigenous children in care are being underserved and discarded.
Daniel says the current model doesn't focus enough on housing, mental health, and other preventative efforts. Chief Don Smoke is on the board of directors for Dakota Ojibwe Child Family Services. He says the way things are funded now is putting a strain on agencies.
So if the province of Manitoba is serious about truth and reconciliation and the calls to action, then they must come to the table and they must include our technicians and our experts.
Premier Wab Kinew says his government wants to see kids in care get the best support possible.
Their funding is increased by about $40 million, plus we settled the CSA lawsuit. So there's a lot that we're doing. I'm sure there's always more that we could do, and our minister's really committed to this, and I'm sure she'll be following up with SCO on how they can work together.
SCO says CFS agencies are using federal funds to fill the gaps, and it has to stop. They want to see the review that was promised in 2019. Mike Arsenault, CBC News, Winnipeg.
One of Winnipeg's major shopping malls has been sold. St. Vital Mall has been bought for more than $160 million by Montreal-based Layad. Layad also owns Garden City Square and Johnston's Terminal in Winnipeg. The 1 million square foot mall attracts some 8 million visitors annually. It will also soon house a new Uniqlo store as a main tenant. All right, time now for another check on our forecast with weather specialist Mickey Wolf. Mickey.
Thanks, Brittany. Well, as we all know, we've been having a warmer month overall across most of the prairies, and things are still looking a bit warmer this weekend. Let's take a look at what we can expect throughout Manitoba over the next few days. Now, we are seeing a little bit of snow coming through the north as we get into Saturday. We are going to get some cloud cover again, and then we're looking at a little bit of snow as well headed for the province. As for amounts, we're not expecting too much snowfall over the next few days up until Monday. The north is definitely going to see the bulk of that, especially for Churchill. We're looking at up to 16 centimeters of snowfall accumulation until Monday. So that puts us at the moderate point for snowfall. We are seeing those amounts in the north overall, just upwards of 5 centimeters for most of the areas. Flin Flon might see up to 3 centimeters as well. And then for Winnipeg, so far, we're not seeing any snow this weekend, at least up to 1 centimeter so far, but that might be changing in the next few days. Past Monday, we'll have to wait and see for that. Now, as far as our winds go, we are getting some gusting, especially for the north. We will see gusting potentially just around that 40 kilometer an hour mark. In the south, the winds are looking relatively mild. We might see a little bit of gusting there Saturday afternoon and into Sunday afternoon as well. For Winnipeg, things are starting to pick up a little bit wind-wise. Now, for our pets today, we have our Feline Friday forecast. Today, our little friend is Binks, courtesy of Elsie. Binks is apparently watching Riley's forecast. So Binks, I'm sorry you've got me tonight, but Riley should be back soon for Binks. And if you'd like to see your pet featured on our newscast, you can email talkback@cbc.ca. Just taking a look at tomorrow, we're seeing that fog again around the noon hour, so hopefully that dissipates if you've got evening plans tomorrow for the 14th. Now, taking a look at tonight for southern Manitoba. Again, we are seeing potentially some fog developing overnight tonight. And in the north, we are seeing some scattered flurries into the evening. Now, taking a look at tomorrow, we're still overall seeing warmer temperatures across northern and southern Manitoba, but things will start to cool down. But it's good, Brittany, just to enjoy that warmer weather while we can for the next few days.
All right, thanks, Mickey. Well, food that would have gone to the landfill is now feeding people in Winnipeg. CBC's Jim Agapito checked out how one group is helping rescue would-be waste.
We usually expect up to 300 plus people. That's how you see that there's such a huge need for this food rescue program. My name is Lalani Villarba, and I'm the Executive Director of the Chalmers Neighborhood Renewal Corporation. What we have here is a ton of donations from the Community Helpers Unite. This is food and produce. Everything that we get that would have eventually ended up in the landfill is here, and we are preventing it from going into the landfill and creating greenhouse gases and methane and all of that. We just wanted to set out some rules. What we are asking is that you only take what your household needs. All right, we're ready to go, so let's go. Today we got 4 pallets, and each pallet is worth 1,000, 1,500 pounds. Barrier-free means there's no judgment. That means we don't care where you live, we don't care what your income is, we don't care what situation you're coming from. If you need food, you can take it. We have great partners like Community Helpers Unite, Brandon Food Rescue, Climate Change Connection. All of these pieces make this work for us.
One of these or one of those? My name's Shane Hayden. I'm here to help volunteer with food program, food rescue, and anything else that's necessary. I was actually in a bad situation where I needed help with housing situation and some food and stuff, so they actually helped me find an apartment. And now that I'm here, I just keep volunteering because I like to help out. Here they try to make you feel like you're welcome, more like a family than just a number. So it was more welcoming for sure. Definitely had a lot more services to provide than other locations that I've been to. So I thought it was just a great fit.
Okay, do you want a broccoli? Sure, please. Thank you. Hi, my name is Betty Braun. There you go. Thank you. Sometimes it's very tough, especially now with the way that the prices are. Having all of these fruits and vegetables that are available to us makes a big difference in my budget, so that I can end up making ends meet and maybe buying a few extra special vegetables and fruits that I wouldn't have been able to.
How many seniors do you see here that need food like this?
More than I think come here need it, either because they haven't got the ability to get here, or some people just don't like to. I've never been to a food bank. This makes it different. It's just different here, where you're not judged, and I think that's a big thing. If you need it, take it.
Thank you.
Just come. We'll all make you feel welcome. It's a good place. This place is a good place.
In this facility, they will find friendship, that they will find community, that they will find belonging, they will find non-judgmental space where they can be themselves and access services and anything else that they need. We are here to help them.
What color does a 4-year-old think represents Valentine's Day? Well, spoiler alert, it's not red. Stay tuned for some cuteness after the break.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm certainly going to enjoy the little pockets of sunshine while I can this long weekend. Let's take a look at the week ahead, though, because we've got a little bit of snow coming our way for Winnipeg, especially as we get into that work week. We're seeing relatively warmer temperatures this weekend. All things considered, we've got Sunday looking at a high of +2, but then as we get into the work week, things are starting to cool down, especially overnight temperatures. We're going to see by the time we get to Friday, those lows nearing -20 and potentially some snow midweek to contend with as well. So Brittany, if anybody out there has plans this weekend, I'd advise just enjoying that last little bit of warmer temperatures while we can.
All right, thanks, Mickey. Definitely the time to get outside. And tomorrow is Valentine's Day, of course. For some, that means pink, red, roses, maybe chocolates, and of course, love. But what does it mean when you're, say, 5 years old? Well, Marcy Marcusa had a chance to ask some of the littlest Winnipeggers their thoughts.
Do you love anybody or any pets?
I love everybody.
What color do people normally wear on Valentine's Day, you think?
A true red.
Oh, a true red. What color do we wear on Valentine's Day?
Chocolate flushy flushy.
Chocolate flushy flushy. Kaylee, how old are you?
3.
You're 3. Wow. What do you think love is?
I don't know.
Do you love anybody?
Only Ivy. And my family I love.
Who do you love?
My mommy.
Oh, that's a good answer. What were you saying about chocolates and candies?
Yeah.
What were you saying about them?
I say candies for trick-or-treating.
Okay, candies for trick-or-treating, and on Valentine's Day too, like always candy.
Yeah, always candy.
Yeah, and what kind of candies do you think?
All of them. Happy Valentine's Day!
I love that. Maybe some Valentine's trick-or-treating, not a bad idea. So much love for all of our viewers. We hope you have a wonderful Valentine's Day and long weekend, and we'll see you back here on Tuesday. Have a great weekend.